Right, so we have this lady who has uploaded a video with the title I Made a Mistake and made some more serious mistakes in it. I'm not going to respond to her arguments about IQ, dysgenics, or debt to society because she does not make any specific claims about, for example, what should be the minimum IQ for one to reproduce or not to reproduce, or how are you going to stop the so-called low IQ people from reproducing by just having higher IQ people creating more children? Or how are you going to eliminate suffering altogether by this approach, the way antinatalism promises to? Or what is the final end goal of such a generational game played over generations together in future based on selection of IQ? She does not address any of that specifically, and so I'm going to ignore all her abstract and ad hoc commentary and directly jump onto her erroneous argument about vegan babies.
And now to address the same dead argument that antinatalists still use as their checkmate. But you can't guarantee your kids will be vegan.
Right, so antinatalists certainly don't use uncertainty in vegan children as their checkmate arguments. If there are any arguments at all which could be in some sense labeled as checkmate arguments used by antinatalists, those are the arguments of asymmetry and assumed consent. So before you criticize, please get educated about what antinatalism is, what are their core arguments, and what are their basic ideas.
It's like you can't guarantee that you'll be vegan, even a year from now. Recidivism rates are upwards of 75%. The vast majority of vegetarians and vegans don't stay that way.
Yes, there is an inherent uncertainty associated with you, which is born along with you. You can't guarantee that you yourselves would be vegan in future. But does that uncertainty justify you to create more uncertainty and keep on propagating that uncertainty in future forever?
Bottom line is that using the they may not be vegan when they grow up as an argument against having vegan children, coupled with the knowledge of the reality of your own risk of recidivism, it really just amounts to an equivalent argument to end your own life.
This is a classic mistake made by those who don't understand antinatalism. They fail to see the distinction between stopping an existing life and not creating or not starting a new life, which is a very big distinction. I am going to post link to Benatar's book for the third time, which explains this distinction in very detail and very nicely. Please read it before criticizing with such shallow arguments.
I think the real reason that you're still here is because, contrary to your intellectually dishonest and dogmatically pessimistic claims, you find positive value and enjoyment in life, positive value and enjoyment that surpasses any suffering that you experience.
Using adjectives like dogmatic and dishonest to an ideology without even understanding core arguments of that ideology is not a very honest thing to do. And then to go on to say that people who agree with this ideology are necessarily clinically depressed is not only untrue, but in some sense it is an insult to people who genuinely suffer from depression. The claim that life has pleasures in it is not at all contrary to antinatalism. Life indeed has pleasures in it, and parts of life is really beautiful. There could also be lives in which pleasures outweigh suffering. Nothing of this is in contradiction with antinatalists' arguments about asymmetry or assumed consent. So please read Benatar's book before you criticize antinatalism with such erroneous comments.